Hello, welcome to another Lives on the Registry video. My name is Christian.
And I'm Mark. We're both volunteers for NARSOL, the National Association for Rational Sexual Offense Laws. And today we're here to talk about 5 memes with international perspective. Let's dive right into our first meme. Christian, what do you see here?
Statistics that highlight some of the significant differences between the judicial and political system in the United States versus the rest of the world. Comparing the per capita prison population of the United States to other first world countries shows a clear discrepancy. It's not even close. A national embarrassment. We have intelligent people in this country. Clearly, we can come up with ways to punish wrongdoing without resorting to incarceration at the excessive level that we do here. It's easy to throw people away and pretend the problem doesn't exist. But that's a juvenile response, and it doesn't end with benefiting anyone.
Nobody benefits, that's for sure. Okay, what's next?
In this slide, we see a quote from Desmond Tutu, who was a South African Anglican bishop and theologian, known for his work as an anti-apartheid and human rights activist. In sharing this, I'm not suggesting that punishment for wrongdoing is somehow wrong, but we need to look inward to address the extent to which we take it. According to Elizabeth Weigel in a Psychology Today article, punitive justice asks only what rule or law was broken, who did it, and how they should be punished. It responds to the original harm with more harm. Restorative justice brings offenders and victims together voluntarily. Offenders take responsibility and acknowledge the impact their actions had on their victims and loved ones, as well as their own families and neighborhoods. Advocates say it is key to rehabilitation and reduced recidivism.
And that's what everyone wants, right? We want people to return to the community and never ever reoffend. It sounds like restorative justice is the way of the future.
If the goals are to heal, to change, to improve, and to communicate.
Okay, what's next?
This slide simply continues the narrative formerly established. Sad but true, there are numerous cases of older Americans with Alzheimer's and other debilitating mental disorders who wind up in prison for crimes they may not even have understood they were committing. Once again, punitive justice fails to take into account individual circumstances. The judicial system really needs to change.
Thank you, Christian. My 77-year-old father is one of those people, and this is why I got involved with NARSOL in the first place. I hope the system changes before I turn 77 or before anyone else develops dementia and runs afoul of the law. Okay, what do you have for us next?
With this slide, the point is made that the United States is in the extreme minority by providing, and in fact mandating, that those convicted of specific crimes be placed on a public registry with all of their details available for all to see. While the empirical evidence shows that this accomplishes nothing in terms of recidivism rates, it does place those convicted of sexual offenses in a unique position. They're more likely to be targeted by the public for ongoing retribution above and beyond that which was originally ordered by the courts. There are countless examples of vigilantes seeking out and harming those placed on a registry, as well as examples of registrants being denied basic rights from private businesses based solely on their pasts. If a registry is to exist at all, it should be limited to the eyes of law enforcement.
And even that is controversial, right? Law enforcement often use registries to punish people after paying their debt and returning to society. Isn't this what the next slide shows us?
Thankfully, our position is being backed up by legislatures around the world. In this specific example, a New Zealand legislature is outing the idea that a registry is punishing people. If you ask any person forced to register in the United States if the registry is punitive, the overwhelming answer will be yes. Any non-biased examiner would be forced to determine the same. However, legally speaking, the legislatures and some courts have dismissed this idea and called the registry simply a civic duty or requirement. With all due respect, if it isn't a punishment to have to show up regularly at a sheriff's office, pay ongoing fines, be denied access to society, and be forbidden from traveling, you and I have very different definitions of punishment.
Well, Christian, I see you're angry, and so am I, and rightfully so. So tell us about the last slide.
This slide about sums it up. The current judicial and registry regime creates a never-ending source of money. Court fines, lawyers' bills, for-profit prisons, jobs for corrections officers and other law enforcement agents, etc., brings in millions if not billions of dollars. Those whose lives depend on having such strict rules would never accept the fact that their position is contrary to the scientific and academic consensus. When response to criminality becomes more focused on money than results, there is a clear problem. Let's focus on what works.